The major in charge gathered the men and he said, anyone in this unit, if the older men here do not want to participate, they do not have to participate. And a couple of the men stepped forward and didn't do it. I tell that story because, and in a sense, this is the reason I wrote the book. I think we've lost a sense of the possibility of choice, the fact that even in situations of seemingly total conformity, you do have the people who don't go along, and we need to tell their stories, not least because otherwise, what do we say to the people who say, well, I was only doing what anyone in my shoes would have done? There's no way to answer that without at least capturing at least some of these nuances and these choices that exist.
You sort of go on a search throughout the book in these, there's 4 different cases that you look at, and you go on a search for sort of the unifying theme. And one of the things I think find satisfying about the book is that you're very honest about the difficulty in coming up with some sort of recipe. I mean, it sort of speaks to the sort of remarkable uniqueness of each human soul that chooses this. Is there some kind of grand theoretical generalization to draw about the kinds of people who do make the right choice on these conditions?
I think there are 2 things that I came away with. Again, if you look at Guantanamo and you think of the military lawyers who wouldn't go along with it. Again, these were not radicals who went in there cynical, jaded, thinking this whole thing is wrong. They were people who revere the Constitution. Many of them are conservatives, many of them are Republicans, many of them never imagined they would see such a gap between what the United States is doing and what it professes to do. So this theme of true believers, I think, is a common one. It's true of whistleblowers. It's true of a lot of the cases I looked at. The other thing is, the book is really a book about the moral imagination, and I actually say that in a way I hope will inspire people, because the imagination, we know, has been turned to terrible, terrible effects in places like Rwanda, in places like World War II. When we start to imagine the other as non-human, as less than us, we can do terrible things. But all of the characters in this book use their imagination to actually empathize with the people on the other side. They make this break, often because of direct contact. Once that happens, it becomes a lot harder for them to conform.
It's beautifully said. Eyal Press, thank you so much. Contributor to The Nation magazine, author of Beautiful Souls, Saying No, Breaking Ranks, and Heeding the Voice of Conscience in Dark Times. I really can't recommend it highly enough. What you should know for the